YouTube is also a mental game. Even many big creators burn out or get distracted and unmotivated. So this training will teach you how to make sure you stay the course and win. So how do you stay motivated and consistent with content creation, even if progress seems slow? Firstly, I highly recommend keeping a pinned list in the Notes app on your phone called your motivation list. Add in all the things that make you feel most motivated, excited, or determined to succeed. This includes your deeper reason why you're doing YouTube. For example, everyone may want money, but go a deeper level and ask why you want that money. That normally helps get to a more raw, emotional source of motivation. Then read your list every day, or whenever you're feeling unmotivated, so those thoughts are regularly in your mind. This is extremely powerful. Here are some examples that you may consider adding to your motivation list. Number 1, YouTube will give you the ability to give your family and friends everything they deserve. Number 2, once you build your library of evergreen YouTube content that's making money on autopilot, you'll be able to relax and never have to worry about money again. You have no alarms, boss, or schedule, and you can just go travel anywhere in the world anytime without thinking about it at all whilst earning passive income even while you sleep. You can literally go do whatever you want, whether that's relaxing on a beach and partying, or building a passion project without having any money concerns or stress about deadlines. That's the true freedom YouTube brings you. Number 3, you get to commission the movies and videos you want to see in the world. You get to essentially commission shows like Netflix, HBO, Disney+, etc. as you're the boss and leading the creative vision. You can reinvest your budget into making new content about literally whatever ideas you like and get super creative with it. There's nobody telling you what content you have to make or in what style. You have full creative freedom to do what you want. And all the while, you're growing your content library with these new releases and making videos other people love and get inspired by. You can spread your message to millions and quite literally change the world. Number 4, YouTube videos are digital real estate. You're building a portfolio of assets. Videos you make today can still be bringing in views and money and attention, which you can direct any way you want, for years to come. Unlike investing in stocks, which could go down in value, videos just continue to increase in profit over time, and there's no limit on how high the returns can be. Unlike a job, there's no cap on how much your work can earn you. There's unlimited earning potential. Number 5, think of what you can do with all that money. With just a $5 RPM, if you get 5 million views, that's $25,000 per month. And that's just ad revenue, let alone sponsors or other sales the video can bring you. Visualize what you can do with that money. A quote I love is that entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. Number 6, when you have a talented team of A players all working on making great content, there's limitless scale with YouTube. You can have a machine that basically prints money on autopilot. Your YouTube channel becomes a cash cow and opens up all kinds of other opportunities to do whatever you want. Okay, so those are just some ideas. But ultimately though, your list should have anything that genuinely motivates you. It may even be a video clip, like a certain movie scene that gets you fired up or in a creative mood. In fact, my literal computer wallpaper when I started YouTube was a big YouTuber's AdSense screenshot. It was a constant reminder of what income was possible, and it's pretty cool I've now earned more than that screenshot. But the point of all of this is because YouTube is the absolute hardest at the beginning. Not only do you not have momentum, but as a solo creator, you have to do everything yourself and wear many different hats. You're basically the idea generator, scriptwriter, video editor, graphic designer, producer, videographer, analytics analyzer, community manager, brand deal manager, COO, CEO. No wonder it feels hard initially. But I promise you it's worth it, and that your future self will thank you for the work you do today. Because as your channel grows, you hand off more and more of those responsibilities. So the process actually becomes easier as you build your team to help you. The problem is simply that most people give up before they reach the tipping point where things get easier and the momentum kicks in. Okay, so how else can you stay motivated? Here are some powerful mindsets that may help. Number 1, I love the phrase, imagine trying to compete with me. Become so good your competition and copycats are irrelevant and wonder how you did it. Become the stock on YouTube everyone wishes they could invest in. Number 2, use your anger and channel it into fuel. Prove your doubters and critics wrong. Number 3, use your envy. There are people much dumber than you who are doing better than you. Rather than complain, do something about it by working harder and smarter. Number 4, anything worth doing is going to be hard. That's a good thing. It means less competition. If it were easy, achieving it would not be such a big accomplishment. And the harder you work, the more you realize you're capable of. So when you feel stuck, reframe it. It's great that it's hard, or else YouTube would be saturated and you wouldn't have this incredible opportunity right now. Number 5. If you're making money from creating content you enjoy, that other people enjoy too, you are already winning. Sure, we can aim for bigger revenue targets and higher subscriber numbers, but don't lose sight of how good things already are. We get to do this. It's literally one of the most desired jobs in the world. And number 6, if you're feeling disappointed by your view counts, imagine those viewers in real life all in a room. This picture here, this is 1,000 people. If you were given a presentation to 1,000 people like this, that'd be pretty cool that they all turned up just to listen to you. Even a room full of 20 strangers would feel impressive, that they all showed up to hear what you have to say. Yet, we become so disconnected from that online because our perceptions get skewed by the big numbers we see from the top creators. Sure, let's aim big, but just by creating this type of content at all, you are impacting real people's lives. Don't forget that. So, take a minute to appreciate that total strangers are giving up their time to watch your content out of every other possible thing they could be watching. Visualize them in real life watching your video together. And once you hit 20,000 plus, you're basically filling gigantic stadiums worth of people that most musicians and entertainers can only dream of. So don't lose sight of how crazy that actually is. And at number 7, remember YouTube's growth is not linear. It can be exponential. It took me a year to get my first 1,000 subscribers. Now I often get 1,000 subscribers every day without even posting any new videos. It's a similar story with almost all creators. Even the biggest ones like Mr. Beast, the beginning is the hardest part. Now, don't worry, with all the strategies in this course, you'll definitely grow a lot faster than most creators, and certainly a lot faster than I did back when I didn't know any of this stuff. But the principle still applies. You have to put in the groundwork before that snowball effect kicks in. There are no real overnight successes, you just don't see the work before the crazy viral growth. So, just like all those people who've blown up, you can too, and you will if you stick with it and keep going. Don't compare your day 1 to someone else's day 500. I found it way easier to go from 100k to 1 million subs than from 0 to 100k, but most people fail because they quit too early. If you push through, then momentum kicks in. Okay, but how else can you stay motivated? Well, let me tell you about one of my favorite mindsets. You're only one video away. This is one of my favorite things about YouTube, and it's a real mental cheat code whenever things feel difficult. Just remind yourself, you're always just one video away from everything you want. YouTube judges each video individually, so even if all your other videos seem to have bombed, this next video really could be the one. This next video could be the one that completely blows up, goes viral, and kickstarts your channel's momentum. The video that gets you thousands of new loyal subscribers. The video that makes you a crazy amount of money. Each video is essentially a lottery ticket. So if you're ever doubting whether to skip making a video, just remember this point. The leaderboard. I mentioned how YouTube is like a game, but there is quite literally a leaderboard within the game of YouTube. If you go to socialblade.com and find your channel, you can see your subscriber rank. Although you have to hover over the ranking number to see how many total channels are ahead of you. For me at the time of recording this, my rank says I'm 1,227th in the world, but when I hover over that, I can see that there are actually around 36,000 channels in the world ahead of me, which out of 60 million plus channels isn't too bad. Because remember, this includes all languages and music channels as well. But still, I've clearly got room for improvement. And whilst you don't want to worry too much about this, because it's better to focus on things directly under your control, I think it can be quite a fun, motivating way to add a little competitiveness to YouTube and just gamify things further. You only need to be in the top 600,000 channels to be in the top 1%. Now, this might not work for everyone, but you might like the idea of climbing up the global leaderboard. Because even if you only go up one space, you're still making progress. So you can literally see yourself rising up the ranks. But then I've got one final way for you to stay motivated throughout your YouTube journey, and that is a success list. This final hack to keep yourself motivated is where you keep a record of the smaller victories along the way. It's an unfortunate trait of driven people, and if you're here, you almost certainly are one of these driven people, that we overly criticize ourselves for the things we haven't done and hardly ever take time to recognize all the things we did do well. It's so easy to dwell on any negatives and massively overlook all the overwhelming positives and progress you have made. So I'd recommend making a success list where you literally write out any small wins on YouTube along the way. That could be milestones you reach, like your first 100 subscribers, could be nice comments you get, could be new skills you learn, or just anything that feels like progress. There'll always be a next level to hit, So sometimes it's good to take time to appreciate where you've got to already and how you're already winning. Being able to read back over these little wins reminds you of the progress you've already made, and how even if you're not at your main goal, you're still collecting these mini wins along the way. Let's talk about the productivity hacks and time management secrets of the 1%. Number 1 is a motivation hack, which is paying a friend and getting accountability and punishments. One of the biggest hacks I use is if I need to get something done but I'm procrastinating, is I'll make a bet with a friend or anyone who you really respect and say, if I don't do this thing by a certain time or date, I will pay you X amount of money. And pick someone who will hold you to that. Of course, the amount has to be an amount of money you can afford to lose, but that would be really uncomfortable. It can't be an amount you don't care about losing, as that won't motivate you enough. This works so well for a number of reasons, like giving yourself clear accountability. But more importantly, it works because of Parkinson's law, which states that work expands to fill the amount of time we have to complete it. This is the reason that back in school, you could have 2 weeks to do an essay, yet you'd find yourself frantically working on it the night before it was due. But with YouTube, we don't have a lot of real deadlines, as we are our own bosses. And so setting deadlines and putting something on the line so you have skin in the game and some kind of punishment for failure is one of the most powerful ways to get yourself to do a task and stop procrastinating. Because absolutely nobody wants to lose their money, so it'll force you to get things done. Number 2, track your stats. What gets measured gets managed. If you want to lose weight, weigh yourself every day. If you want to make money, check your bank balance every day. If you want more subscribers, look at your subscriber count every day. I always like to have a very small amount of goals. I believe you can't realistically focus on more than about 4 life goals at a time. But then I like to have those written on a Google spreadsheet, which is pinned in my browser so I see them every day. And I see my progress and how far away I am. This becomes your daily dashboard, so there's absolutely no doubt in your mind what you're working towards and how much progress you've made. Then you'll become laser focused on those small number of goals. Productivity hack number 3. Set goals that are within your control, like posting X number of videos, and then reward yourself for wins. In the previous point, I mentioned having a very small number of big targets that are the ultimate objectives you're currently working towards, like 100,000 subscribers or 10 million views or make $100,000, whatever your personal big targets are. However, one of my big realizations was that you then need to reverse engineer what you're trying to achieve and figure out a more short-term goal that's completely within your control. Because that's what helps keep you focused on these big targets. Because it's great saying you want a gold play button, but you need something more actionable. So with YouTube, a really obvious goal when starting out would be to make 1 good video per week. Depending on the complexity of the video and your schedule, you can change the parameters of that, of course, but pick something realistic that you're going to try and stick to so you have something to measure that's within your control. Because you can't control when you'll get your play button, but you can control the amount of videos you post. The same principle works for anything. But then give yourself some kind of small treat or reward for doing it successfully. Like, say you're going to go out for drinks with friends if you do the things you said you were going to do. Or go out for a meal with your family, or just treat yourself to a small purchase, so there's something to aim for and look forward to. Number 4. Another productivity hack is called the 5 and 5 rule. This is where you count down from 5 and then just start the work, as that's the hardest part. And then you tell yourself you just have to do this task for 5 minutes. Okay, let me explain. We often convince ourselves we need the perfect conditions to get started. I am really guilty of this. I'll try and get in the zone for work. But actually, the best way to get into the zone is just to start the work. Being able to just get started, regardless of how you feel, is one of the traits I've seen most in high achievers. So the 5 and 5 rule works like this. Firstly, identify what task you're going to do. It can only be one task at a time. Multitasking is a lie. And then give yourself a 5-second countdown. Literally, go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just start work. I know it sounds silly, but this just forces you to not overthink it. You're not wasting time getting in the right mood, you just get going after the countdown and throw yourself in. But what you do is set a timer for just 5 minutes. You only have to work for a minimum of 5 minutes. This essentially tricks our brain, as the reason we don't want to get started is we're imagining this massive daunting task. Whereas if we tell ourselves we just have to do 5 minutes, that seems much more manageable. And if after 5 minutes you want to stop, you can. But something strange normally happens. Once we get going, we get into it. We realize it's not quite as bad as we thought. We have some momentum going, because starting is the hardest part. That's why this rule is so effective. It forces us to just start. If you find this easy, you can set a timer for longer, like 30 minutes, and commit that you won't stop working until the timer goes off. But either way, being clocked in, working on one very specific task, and laser focused is really powerful. Then take a short break when you need it, and set another timer. Number 5. Preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling others how you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Watching videos from people who've done the thing isn't doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing. I realize this may sound a little crazy, but it's taken from one of my favorite short blog posts. You can click the link here to check it out, but it's a simple reminder that no amount of planning, thinking, or talking about doing a thing actually matters. All that matters is actually just doing the thing, getting the actual work done. Learning without taking action is a waste of time. Confront the work, just do it, and then you become unstoppable. So whenever I find myself kind of preparing to do something, I just remind myself, the only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing. Productivity hack number 6, mastering your environment. We want to make the stuff we want to do easier. For example, having your camera or microphone already set up in a position ready to record so you can just press a button to get started massively reduces the friction and makes it so much more likely we'll do it. Likewise, we want to make the stuff we don't want to do harder. For example, there's a free browser extension called Stay Focused you can add, which will block websites you don't want to waste time on, like Facebook and Instagram. As extreme as it sounds, blocking apps or sites you procrastinate on makes sure you don't subconsciously find yourself clicking on them the minute you get stuck on something. It's the same principle with anything else. Like if you're trying to eat healthier, not having junk food easily available at your house means you've got to go all the way to the shop to get it. So it's much more of a hassle with these extra barriers in the way. Now, you may be thinking, we're getting too much into the world of personal development instead of business and YouTube. But you'll soon realize it's all part of the same game. Eating better, creating routines you can stick to, and becoming a better version of yourself is what allows you to achieve more with YouTube. Things like sleeping and waking up at the same time each day is really effective. Planning out what you need to do tomorrow the night before so you can get right into it first thing when you wake up is also really effective. Personally, I really like putting my phone on Do Not Disturb mode and make sure it's out of reach so it can't hijack your attention. That way you get into a deeper flow state. Another tip is surrounding yourself with other like-minded people, even if that's just through connections online. Basically, the more you can design your environment to be oriented towards success, the more success you'll actually achieve. Productivity hack number 7. Split tasks into smaller chunks so they're less intimidating. If you ever feel stuck on a task, that normally just means a task is too big and you need to split it into smaller, more manageable tasks. For example, if a to-do list item of yours is to make a high-quality documentary video, that's pretty overwhelming. No wonder you're struggling to get started and stay motivated. So let's split it down into what's the minimum first step. In this case, it may be deciding on the idea, then brainstorming the title and thumbnail ideas. This strategy works really well as it means we can start crossing items off our to-do list, which gives us momentum and the feeling of progress, so we then do more. So whenever you're procrastinating, just try and split the big scary task into smaller, more manageable tasks. Productivity hack number 8 is success streaks on a calendar. A great visual way to keep yourself productive every day is to pin a calendar to your wall. And then each day, you can only put an X on the calendar if you succeeded at what you set out to do. For example, each day you could decide on a realistic short list of tasks you're going to do today that are most important. Or you could commit to a minimum of 1 hour of writing video scripts every day. You should choose whatever it is you need to focus on right now. But once you've decided what this thing is, you can only put an X on the calendar if you actually do it. You'll soon get a chain going, and you won't want to break your streak by missing a day. And finally, productivity hack number 9, avoid death by 1,000 cuts. Track your time to see where it's going, and remember the 80-20 rule. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, so remember if you're not making enough progress, you're probably working on the wrong things. You've likely heard of the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, that 20% of your activities give 80% of the results. But we often forget to apply this to YouTube. You can track your time using a free tool like Clockify to get a breakdown of where your time is actually going, and it's really useful to see and identify where the problems are, as very rarely we're spending all our time on the things that have the most impact. The goal should always be to identify and eliminate busy work, like checking emails a lot. Instead, schedule a set time for that, as otherwise you're letting other people interrupt you. Likewise, I used to waste way too much time checking analytics when I first started. Personally, I found that my best recipe for success is keeping my calendar as empty as possible and then just having 1 or 2 important things to work on each day, which I know will have the biggest impact on the channel or business growth overall. And I always try to do those things earlier in the day when I have more energy. So protect your time fiercely and reduce distractions wherever you can. Identify what's actually most important to move things forward right now and get to work. Okay, since we're talking about staying motivated, we need to talk about haters. Kind of a cringy word, I know. But this is an important topic because the fear of what other people think holds a lot of creators back. So firstly, here's some quotes I love. If you don't want criticism, never do or say anything interesting. You can be the ripest peach in the bowl, but there'll always be someone who just doesn't like peaches. You'll never be criticized by someone doing more than you. For me personally, one of the most freeing realizations was that everyone has haters, critics, and people who disagree with them. You could donate $100 to charity right now, and someone would take issue with the charity you chose, or the fact you didn't donate more. You literally can't please everyone. If you don't believe me, go look at any creator you love and sort their comments by new, there'll be someone complaining. But once you accept that, you realize it's pointless to even try to please everyone, and you realize that negative comments aren't even a reflection on you. You can't please all the people all the time, but ultimately, this stranger's comment or opinion is irrelevant to your success. In fact, I put forward to you that haters are actually a good thing. Reason one is that if you have no haters at all, you're probably in the safe zone and in your own bubble. Having some negative comments is typically a sign that you're growing and reaching a wider audience, because to reach the right people, you have to reach a few of the wrong ones first. Number 2, haters means your content is polarizing, which is good. This is how you attract your loyal audience who love what you're doing. You should be much more worried if your content is so vanilla that nobody ever has strong opinions. Number 3, negative comments still count as engagement in the eyes of the algorithm. So they are quite literally helping your video get promoted more and consequently making you more money and helping you reach more people. Number 4, you can use the haters as fuel. Not even in just a YouTube sense. Anyone who's doubted you or made you feel small in the past, prove them wrong. Use that as ammunition to keep going and achieve incredible things. So that's 4 reasons why having haters isn't so bad at all. But you've also got to remember, when you get hate comments, it's not a bad reflection on you, it's a bad reflection on them. Clearly, there's something very wrong in their life. Because what type of people spend their own time leaving attacking, hateful comments for people posting free videos? If I don't like a video, I just click off it. I don't waste my time ranting about it. Honestly, most haters are typically living very depressing lives. Normally the comment has nothing to do with you, it's just a reflection of their own issues. Either way, it makes zero sense to deprive the overwhelmingly majority of people who would love your content just because a tiny vocal minority may dislike something you say. The honest truth is you'll probably be surprised how positive and encouraging the comments are, but life's too short to let an angry keyboard warrior affect you. You've got an empire to build. Of course, just a small caveat here. When I say all this about haters, I'm not talking about constructive criticism. Not every negative comment is hate. And it's important we differentiate the two, as constructive criticism and advice on what we could be better at is actually very useful and should be factored in to improve. What we've been talking about is outright hate or negative comments that aren't remotely constructive. But finally, now that we know haters are inevitable on the path to succeed, how do you deal with haters? Some people like to kill them with kindness and take the moral high ground, so replying something like, "Sorry you didn't enjoy the video, but I hope you have a nice day." And I've actually seen it where the initial commenter then backtracks a bit because they weren't expecting a reply. But in my view, you should just ignore them. It's really not worth your time at all. And in your YouTube studio, you can even click on the comment and press hide user from channel, which means only they can see their own comments. So without knowing it, they'll just be posting comments into the void that literally nobody else can see, which is kind of funny when you think about it. To be honest though, once your channel gets to a certain size, you'll inevitably stop reading all the comments anyway, as there's too many. For me nowadays, I just check the top comments now and again, as those tend to give you a good sense of what your audience is thinking overall. Whereas if you're just reading all the random new comments with 0 upvotes, it's just one random person's opinion, which could be completely wrong and send you in the wrong direction. Either way, by now it should be very clear that worrying about what some random online stranger may comment is an absolutely crazy reason to feel bad or doubt your content. But finally, let's talk about the truth about avoiding burnout. One of the best ways to combat that initial feeling of being a bit burnt out and like you're just going through the motions is to change your content up a bit and focus more on topics you genuinely want to learn more about, or in a style you feel excited about making, even if it strays away slightly from what you've been doing so far. And remember, Hollywood with its millions of dollars still gets it wrong repeatedly, so don't be afraid of having a couple of videos that don't do as well, because you have to experiment to keep innovating and improving. If you learn from it, it wasn't a waste. When I've had that feeling of being stuck, I've just followed my own curiosities of what project at that moment I most want to spend time on, and deliberately try to make it more fun for yourself and take some of the pressure off. It's hard to get burnt out when you're actually enjoying yourself. But the problem is, we often put unnecessary stress and restrictions on ourselves. Another easy way to get burnt out is if you get too hung up on competitors. They say comparison is the thief of joy, and constantly worrying about what other channels are doing can definitely put you in the wrong mental state. So something worth remembering is that if one of their videos pops off, it's likely you may show up in suggested videos if you're making something similar, so you may actually benefit from their success. And besides, if you worry too much about what they're doing, you end up not innovating and being unique. Everyone will have their ups and downs. The more you can focus on your own path, the happier you'll generally be. Having said all that, sometimes you just reach a point where you feel you need a total break. And let me tell you with 100% certainty, that's fine. Sure, consistency is great. But many creators have some weird superstition that if they stop posting, the algorithm will hate them and everything will fall apart. But I've taken breaks for well over a month in between posting videos, and there are creators like Let Me Know who go nearly a year in between posting. And as long as your next video is good, it'll still do really well. If anything, it may do even better as your audience will be missing you. That's why this high quality, evergreen strategy I've been preaching in this course is so powerful. So always feel free to take a short break if needed, and then you'll come back fresher, which long term will help as your audience will sense that in your content as well. The important thing is you stay on the path. Take a break, but don't quit. Because as long as you don't quit, you're still making progress. Remember, the grass is always greener on the other side, and so you'll see other tempting opportunities elsewhere. But those who win the game of YouTube are those who view it on a longer time horizon. This business model truly is amazing, and the rewards will be worth it as long as you stick with it. So I really hope this training has been useful. And remember, you can just take whatever works best for you personally and come back whenever you need a reminder or a dose of motivation. You've got this.